been doing is talking.
Voice.
No, that's not true. Seriously? We don't even know if we're gonna call the album Waste of Fun anymore. Because
yeah, we've been thinking about it a lot.
Yeah, we're actually we're figuring out right now. Well, we scheduled and we're doing like a photo shoots for the cover album, the album cover. Right, I had dyslexia. The album cover, and we decided that we're gonna go more of just we thought we would go a different route with the name. And we don't think it'll be called Waste of Fun, just because the color palette, when you say Waste of Fun, the colors that come in my mind when I identify those words with colors aren't necessarily the colors we identify with.
It's very bright.
It's a very bright thing to say, though I liked it a lot. But we were thinking about naming it something else or another name of a song on the album. So I can talk about, do you want me to talk about the name of the album or?
Well, you can tell me about your double cassette that is currently out with Veiny Hands.
Mm-hmm.
Why did you release that on a double cassette?
Well, when we were first starting, I was with Plastic Pinks and I went on tour, and Crystal and I had just started the band. And when we showed up in Tampa, we played with our friend Rod's band. Plastic Pinks played with them. And it was like Luxury Maine, Veiny Hands, and another band. And Veiny Hands had just started. They were like as new as Dénudés was. And I saw them and I was like, oh, cool. It reminded me a lot of what we're doing. And they're also inspired by the Cramps and stuff like that. So I identified with them and I immediately was like, do you guys want to do a split cassette? Because I have a band with my girlfriend and Rod it's him and his girlfriend. So Bree and Rod were like, yeah, sure. And I was like, okay. So I did all of this stuff to make it happen. You know, I got the artwork done by Heavy Black. I got Melochromania to get the cassettes and press the cassettes, and then Cheap Miami also got involved. And it took a lot of work, and it happened because Veiny Hands, what they were doing is they were just making like these, which is something we don't really do. They make like a lot of like on-the-fly cassettes, and they sell them at their shows. And I think it's pretty interesting. Like they're really, you know, they look good. They're very fashionable. They play good music. And they're like one of the only bands, just like we're one of the only bands kind of playing a certain kind of music coming out of their city, St. Pete. And St. Pete's only so big, so they caught on really fast. You know, it's not as vast as Miami. It's smaller. St. Petersburg and Tampa is a really small area. And they caught on pretty fast. So all of these big bands that are coming in, people want to see Veiny Hands play. So they've already gotten the chance to play with like Shannon and the Clams and all like sorts of bands like that. And I thought it was really cool, and I identified with them. So I wanted to release a cassette with them, and I thought it was awesome. And it was cool to see after the cassette release that they ended up playing with all of these other bands. We didn't anticipate they would be popular. We just liked that music, and we were like, we want to do a split with you, and they liked the idea too, and they liked the Dénudés songs and stuff like that. So I just figured it was like, you know, a couple band and a couple band. It was very black and white. The whole thing was all black and white, the way I felt. The energy of us and them was very black and white, which is something that we identified with. They do too, so we wanted to make a cassette with them. So it took a lot of work because I did more work than I probably should have being the musician. It took just a lot of planning and directing and telling people what to do. Even though 2 record labels were involved, I feel like I definitely did most of the work.
Right.
Yeah, it was a lot to do it. But next time we have a release, we have some things lined up that I just don't want to talk about until they actually happen. But we're really, really excited about it. And we're not in a rush to release anything else. We did the split just to do the split, just to say we did it. And we really liked Veiny Hands at the time. But that's about it. We ended up being on a compilation with Radioactive Records, which was
Record Store.
Yeah, for Record Store Day 2016, which is cool because Deep Valley was on it and Corners were on it and a lot of cool bands were on it. And that's about it. We're anticipating like a small vinyl probably coming out before our album, and then our album's going to come out. And we've had a bunch of people approach us, but right now I'm just focusing a lot on the album without thinking about who I'm going to release it with, who's going to hear it, what kind of record label do I want to identify myself with, and all that stuff. I'm just like, people talk to me about it. People want to do interviews about it. And I'm like, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to do any of those things until it's done. When it's done, then I'll think about it because I have to focus on the album. If I start thinking about other people when I'm making an album, I feel like they're like putting themselves in my album. It's weird.
I agree. And what I like about the split cassette is it captures your energy. Like, I love that you scream on it, like how you scream live, and I love how it captures like a glimpse of what your performances are.
Yeah, those demos that are in there were recorded in Augie's kitchen. So we recorded those live inside of a kitchen and did very small like dub overs. And when we were done doing all of the songs that we had then, we realized that they sounded awful, you know? Like it's I think they're good takes, but we felt like we could do better. So then we recorded the album over with someone else, and we did it like more professionally, like track by track, not live, kind of like that. And then we were like, this doesn't sound like us at all. We don't like it. so we so we threw it out for the second time, and I almost had a nervous breakdown. And then
we were approached this time.
Yeah, this time we were playing a show. I was like, we need to just give this a break because I'm gonna kill myself because it's so hard capturing our sound. I've recorded myself with other bands, but for some reason with Dénudés, we sound really good live. We wanted that live sound to be in there, you know? So now we were playing a show and we've been approached by Robbie of Kill Mama, who has that studio. There was just an article on like those Fuzz Baby studio.
Yes.
Yeah, that New Times did. So he just invited us there to do a video. He's like, you guys are awesome. Can I do a music video on you guys? And I was like, yeah, sure, that's fine. And he's like, has anybody done PR? Has anybody done these things? I'm like, no, we're only like 7 months old. We haven't, I'm literally just trying to like formulate an album now. I haven't thought about how we're going to sell ourselves because, you know, a lot of bands do that before they're even anything because, you know, when you really are like Plastic Pinks, sometimes I feel like we have all these big, huge opportunities and play with all these big bands and people don't even care about our music. It's all like networking, you know, like people like, did you even listen to our album before you even said that you wanted to release our music? It's crazy the way it works. Sometimes it's based off of like popularity more than anything, you know, and that's not what I wanted for this band. I don't want to go running around and touring and doing all these things before we even made our album and decided what we want it to sound like, you know? So we ignored all those things and we just focused on our music. And then somebody approached us and was like, can we do a music video? And we're like, yeah. And the music video is going to be released soon and we're really excited about it. But it was done a while ago. And then that's it. After
that, he asked if he can record us, and
we
said yes, absolutely.
The live recording of the music video sounded better than our album sessions. Like the way he recorded us live sounded better than anything we've ever done in a studio. So we were like, you obviously have a great understanding of recording music. And his idea was like, I want to capture what you guys are doing live. And I was like, thank you, because that's exactly what I want the album to sound like. I want it to sound like it's live. I don't want it to be different versions, you know? Like sometimes you hear a band and the album sounds like one thing and then live it sounds like another thing. I'm all for that. I like that a lot. But it's very hard. If the album sounds different than the live performance, it's got to be better. You know what I mean? And right now what we have is live performances. So I wanted it to sound very, very live because I feel like right now what we have that's great is our live performances. So it's very hard reimagining and recapturing and recreating that inside of a studio session. This is our third time recording the album and it's coming out the best now.
That's great. And is he going to record your music and a video, or is the video going to be released along with the album?
Video's released, not along with the album. It's going to be released before the album, and it's also going to be released in Japan too before the album comes out. And we have, I think, Robot 55 is going to release it. It's really cool. Robot 55 is in Japan, and they release like the Aqua Dolls. They basically talk about, they have like these top weekly bands that come out, and the guy who runs that is actually the first American to ever be a manager of a radio show in Japan. So he's like a kind of a historical person because he's an American that lives in Japan. And he's going to release, we're going to do the music video that we have here over there. And then hopefully when we get our release for our album or our 7-inch here, we're going to try to release that in Japan as well because we identify with that culture. We like that culture a lot.
I can see that, especially with how you both dress, because I love like you guys with chokers, and when you guys go on stage, like you remind me of the Gramps, and in terms of how they dress and their relationship, and how does that influence both of you, their music and their relationship as a couple that made music together and had this punk rockabilly look and music.
Well, we're mostly influenced by their relationship together. Like our relationship is exactly how their relationship is. I mean, they collected so much music, similar to the taste of ours. And we just sit down day after day, just listening to vinyl after vinyl, trying to find new inspirations. As far as the music goes, AG over here is very wild. He really wishes to be Lux on stage, but I kind of convince him against a thong and heels. But you can tell him. Yeah.
She doesn't want me to take my guitar off because I was like, maybe I can get a guitarist to play for us so that I can like really focus on singing. And she's just like, no. I'm like, okay, fine. I won't take.
I just think he's a really good guitarist, and seeing Gigi without a guitar would seem kind of weird.
I agree with you, Crystal.
Yeah.
Because even with Plastic Pinks, when I see Gigi on the guitar and he does like the solos, and he has like a cigarette on like the end of his mouth, and he's like playing like at the brink that the guitar is about to break. I'm like, how does he do it? Because it's amazing. Like the cigarette doesn't fall, and Gigi's still like rocking out. So it's like, I don't know how he does it.
Yeah, totally.
I don't know how I do it either.
I don't know how he catches a spit, you know, when he spits in the air and he catches it in his
Sometimes I don't, and it lands on my face.
Like
or when he gets on top of the amp, like he gets on, he gets off like nothing. And it's like an amp that's probably like 5 feet tall or some ridiculous size.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I mean, he's also influenced by At the Drive-In, and, you know, Cedric does those kind of stunts as well, but without a guitar, so pretty talented. We have a gymnast in the band as well.
Can we talk about something else?
Okay. What was your first instrument you purchased, Gigi and Crystal?
Well, mine...
That we purchased, not that was given to us, right?
Purchase.
Well, no, I saved a lot of money
so
as a
bought...
kid. Myself a violin.
Oh, okay. All right. So you bought yourself a violin.
Yes.
Okay.
I also bought myself, you know, the tenor recorder, the larger recorder. And as an 11-year-old child, that's kind of hard to play, especially when the holes are so separate and your hands are so small. But that was my first instrument. Well, first two. Bought around the same time.
I played a xylophone when I was 3 years old, but I'm sure I didn't buy that. I don't know. I played drums when I was 16 or 15, but I didn't buy that.
What did you buy?
I didn't. To tell you the truth, I'm actually really lucky because I for some reason used to have like a lot. I've been through a lot. I've like quit playing music. I'm like, I fucking hate music. I don't want to do this shit anymore. I'm sorry to curse, but I'm really lucky because I had a room full of music, full of instruments that nobody really cared about. The first time I ever sang and played was like on a bass that someone left at my house. The first guitar I ever had was in my closet for 3 years before I ever picked it up. I was going to go pawn it. And my dad was like, what are you doing with that guitar? And I'm like, I'm going to go pawn it for money. So I wanted to do drugs. And he's just like, you don't do that. No, it's an instrument. You keep that. Like, it's a beautiful guitar. Don't do that. Just leave it. It looks nice. I was like, okay. And I left it. And then little by little, I would pick it up and do this and then put it back and pick it up. And like, I hate you. I hated the guitar the most out of all the instruments because I played the trumpet before, the keys, the bass, drums, hand drums. I used to be obsessed with like congas and bongos and stuff like that before I ever picked up the guitar.
He's really good at it.
I hated the guitar. Shut up. I hated the guitar. And then eventually ended up playing the guitar. So I don't really know what I bought first. I don't know. I had like maybe a flute. I don't know.
Flute?
I had a flute. Yes.
Did you ever play it?
I loved it, and I had a friend that was French, and she took it to France, and that was the last time I ever saw it.
I'm sorry, Gigi.
So probably a flute. I even had triangles. I had a room full of stuff. I had timbales. I bought those. I know that. I don't know what else. I don't know.
You're missing the Australian instrument. You know, like the big one. What's it called?
Wow. I don't know what that is, but I've had one of those too.
You did?
You know what I always wanted? I think it's called a beating bow from Brazil. It's like whoop whoop, and it's like this like stick that has like this one string, and it has kind of like this wooden kind of ball at the bottom, and you hit it with another stick, and it makes these really interesting, cool sounds. It's a Brazilian instrument. But I've always wanted those, and I've never had one.
Maybe that'll be the first instrument you purchase.
Yes, maybe it will be. No, but all my money now, I know for a fact, all my money goes into music. We have, in the other room, we have a lot of amplifiers. I have like a $4,000 amp. I never even play because it's just too big and too loud to carry around. We have 8 guitars,
including my
2 basses and 6 guitars, 1 acoustic guitar, which the acoustic was given to me as well.
We have a synthesizer. We have a mini conga.
Yeah, we've got a synthesizer.
We have what's the one with the fingers?
Kalimba?
Kalimba? I think that's what it's called.
Yeah, I used to have a lot more than I have now, though. But yeah, but I was pretty much by myself.
We have an organ as well, right? A mini organ.
Yeah, in storage. Just we have not as much as we used to, but